Hey guys, Johnny Soda here, back here to another movie review, and today we will be reviewing Rob Zombie's Halloween. Now, Rob Zombie's Halloween was released in 2007, and they decided to reboot the Halloween franchise, and they gave it to Rob Zombie. And yeah, so Rob Zombie was trying to recreate Michael Myers, but also trying to do something of his own too. So yeah, and many people, this is one that I've seen a lot of hate for. Like, I've been seeing a lot of negative reviews for this, and many people seem to hate this. Now, do I hate it? No, absolutely not. Far from it. I really enjoy this movie actually. Like, I really don't. I mean, I can kind of get the hate that surrounds this movie, but at the same time not really, because there's a lot of good stuff in this movie and there's a lot of stuff I enjoy. But then again, there's some stuff I don't enjoy and that I found to be kind of boring and a little cringy too. Um what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, before I get any further, if you guys are curious like why there's no review for Halloween Resurrection, I did not want to review Halloween Resurrection at all because that is a total shit movie, and I did not want to that movie did not deserve a review. It did not deserve for me to like give my camera storage and shit like that. Like, I did not want to do that with fucking Resurrection. So yeah, I didn't want to review Halloween Resurrection. All I'm gonna say is that is a very, very shitty movie. Definitely the worst of the franchise, a betrayal of the franchise. That movie literally just feels like an MTV parody movie that just features Michael Myers in it. And it's so weird. Busta Rhymes being the main character. It's so fucking weird. I hate it. Like, so many, like, weird and laughable moments, like karate chopping Michael Myers through the window, or I thought I told your ass to get in the garage. Like, shit like that. It's just so fucking weird. It's like, is this even a fucking Michael movie? So, yeah, okay. Enough talking about Halloween Resurrection. Halloween Resurrection is obviously an F movie for me. So, yeah, I did not want to review that. But now let's get on to the real review of this movie, Rob Zombie's Halloween. Now, what was I gonna say? But yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed this one, but this one kind of has the Saw 5 problem where there's two stories in it, and I'm really interested in the first story that's going around, but not really the second story at all. And that's the same thing with here, too, because there are two stories in this movie. One is like the first half of the movie that has all the backstory of Michael Myers when he's a kid, and like they really expanded on Michael Myers' backstory. It showed him kill even more people when he was a kid. It showed how he how he lost his voice, like how he wasn't able to talk, and how he fully went crazy and turned into the real Michael Myers. So yeah, I thought all those scenes in the first half were excellent. Like, I love those scenes so much. Like, those scenes were like, I would even say perfect too. Like, those scenes were amazing. But then once we get to the second half, it gets so boring and it's so like cheesy and cringy and weird, and there's a lot of weird stuff in the second half, and like there's a lot of creepy stuff in the second half too. And what else? And yeah, the second half you can just so tell it's trying to be like the first Halloween, but not really, without even the same tone or the same like feel, like the horrifying premise of it. It completely missed out of that with the first Halloween. Like, the second half of the movie is just god awful boring. I don't like watching the second half. I'm not interested in any of the characters. I found all the characters in the second half to be extremely boring. And yeah, and the ending of the movie in Michael Myers' house, I can barely even make out what's going on there. So, yeah, the second half didn't really land for me, but the first half was amazing. But yeah, yeah, I'll get to that though. But there were only, yeah, like I said, all the characters in this movie were so boring, but there were only like three or four characters that I thought were cool. Those being obviously Michael Myers. Sam Loomis was cool. I really liked Deborah Myers, or whatever her name was, or yeah, I think her name was Deborah Myers, Michael Myers' mom. And I really enjoyed Ishmael, the Mexican security guard that always took care of Michael in the hospital. Yeah, I thought he was cool. Yeah, those were the only four characters that I was interested in. Everyone else was like so flat out boring or just creep. So, yeah. Anything else I should say about this movie? But let's get on to the first half of the movie, which I really enjoyed the first half. I actually thought the first half was kind of funny at times too, especially with the Ronnie guy. The Ronnie, he was creepy, but he was funny at times though. Like I really enjoyed like his lines in the beginning, like "Bitch, I will crawl over there," or what else? And Judas, I'm gonna be there. What else did he say in the movie? He even like had his cast and it said "suck it" on it. Yeah, I thought Ronnie was pretty funny, but he was kind of creepy at times. Like there was this one part where he was checking out Michael Myers' sister Judith's ass, and he was like, "Damn, that bitch got herself a nice little dumper." And it's super creepy because that girl literally looks like she's 15 years old, and he looks like he's about fucking 50. So yeah, kind of creepy, and yeah, there are a lot of creepy moments like that in this movie that really took me out of the movie. But I'll get to those though. Um, what was I gonna say? But I really enjoyed that whole opening where we saw how Michael Myers lives, and then he killed like one of his like pet rats, and he was taking forever in the bathroom, and he had that clown mask, and I really liked the way they made the clown mask look like in this movie. It looked pretty scary actually, and what else? And yeah, and Michael Myers in the beginning, he was great. Like I enjoyed him a lot. How we saw how much of a dark life he had. His family treated him like shit. They were all such assholes. They were always arguing to each other. They were never happy. And fucking Ronnie bullying and abusing Michael, and Judas kept bullying like Michael too. And yeah, but the only person who ever respected him was just his mom. That was the only person who ever loved him. Okay, if you guys hear noise in the background, my baby brother's crying, and my parents and my mom and her boyfriend are trying to calm him down. So yeah, please don't mind that. Um, what else was I gonna say about this movie? Hopefully his crying doesn't get any louder. Oh yes, it is. Okay, so back to the movie. I really enjoyed all the stuff where Michael had the mask, and we saw the first person he killed. And what else? I really hope they calm him down soon. What else was I gonna say about Michael? But yeah, like I said, his life was so dark, and the only person that cared for him was just his mom. And like he only loved his mom and his little sister, so that was kind of cute. And what else? And his mom would always defend him too, no matter all the bad shit that they would tell her, except for towards like where we get to see the really bad shit that he does. Anything else I should say about Michael? And I really enjoyed that scene where the guy, the people, these bullies were bullying him in the bathroom, and like they were antagonizing him, how they were gonna like print flyers of his mom being a stripper, and that was really sad too. How his mom was a stripper, and he was gonna like expose his mom to the whole school. So that was kind of mean. And then after that, Michael, he goes to the front office because like he said fuck you to the principal, which was funny. And we get introduced to Dr. Sam Loomis pretty early on too, because we get to see that Michael has been crazy from the start, and he's been killing animals. He had a dead cat in his backpack, and he had pictures of dead dogs, but his mom didn't even believe that. And I love when the Michael Myers theme played when he was running into the hallway and getting his mask and watching what's his name? I forgot that guy's name. The one with the curly hair that was bullying Michael, and he was the kid in Spy Kids. I forgot his name, but he was watching him, and the Michael Myers song was playing, and I thought that fitted in perfectly. And I love the way they did the Michael Myers song in this movie. Like the Halloween theme, they did it amazing in this movie. Yeah, that it was so good. It was so cool. Like them bringing it back. Anything else? And I really enjoyed that scene where Michael kept beating the shit out of the bully with like this big ass stick, like this log or whatever. He keeps beating the shit out of him with it until he dies. So he's beating him up and beating him up until he dies. And that was a very dark death, especially a kid killing another kid. That was extremely dark. And the bully even crying to him, please don't hurt me, I'm sorry. And he keeps doing it, and then he dies. That was extreme. That was very, very dark. Definitely one of the darkest scenes I've seen in a movie. Like, and that whole rampage he does at his house is another are more really dark scenes. So yeah, it was really cool to see Michael like killing people being more graphic when he was a little kid. And then after Michael kills his bully, we gotta see Judith Myers like once again having sex with her boyfriend just like in the original one, and that part where the boyfriend put the Michael Myers mask on was kind of weird, like when he went like ah, I don't know, that just looked weird. And what else? And that scene where Michael kills his stepdad Ronnie was pretty dark too, where he stabbed him in the throat and he enjoyed watching him die. But I am being honest, he definitely deserved that. He deserved that more than anyone else. So yeah, but the one person who didn't deserve the death was Judith's boyfriend, because he literally just did nothing, just sleep with her. So yeah, and his death scene was pretty dark when Michael Myers got the baseball bat and started like bashing him in the head with it. That looked pretty gruesome. Anything else? And the way they did Judith Myers' death in this movie was perfect. Literally, like they couldn't have redone it any better than this, because it literally looked painful. It looked really cool. Like it literally, this Judith Myers death scene lived up as much as the original Judith Myers death scene, because like we have Michael sneaking into her room and he puts on the Michael Myers mask as a little kid, which was pretty cool. A lot of people said that Michael Myers mask looked kind of weird on him. I thought it looked cool on him, seeing like a kid Michael Myers wearing that mask. I thought that was cool. And then he stabs his sister, and his sister keeps walking toward the hallway, and he keeps slicing her and slicing her, and he keeps slicing and stabbing until she dies. So she dies feeling all the pain from the knife, and the way her screams are set, like the way she's screaming, the way she's crawling, and her suffering, like it's dark. Like yes, that was an amazing scene. Like they did that perfectly. And I love when Michael Myers took off the mask and the song played and he kissed his baby sister. He was like, "Happy Halloween, boo." Any other scenes in this movie I enjoyed? And yeah, and I really enjoyed the next scenes where he got reported on the news, and then he gets sent to the hospital, and then we get to see like more in depth like his life with Sam Loomis, which we didn't really see that in the old movies. We only just got mention of it. But in here we actually see like how his life was with Sam Loomis, from when he killed his family to the 15 years later when he actually like escapes and goes to Haddonfield. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting and very clever to do, actually. Like show how Sam Loomis was like being the therapist to Michael. And those scenes were pretty cool. Like I love the dialogue in those scenes where they were just talking and Michael would always make his mask, and like what else? And then slowly and slowly, like Michael kept going crazy, and like he was even at one point like at the stage where he couldn't believe that he killed those people, and he didn't even want to remember. Anything else I should say? And then he would even visit his mom from time to time in the prison too, or the hospital. But Michael Myers was slowly and slowly, and I loved how they showed how slowly it was going, how crazy, how more crazier he was slowly and slowly, because he was getting so crazy from these walls, being trapped in an asylum with all these walls and not even being able to go home. He really wants to leave the place. Like he thinks being in here is a living hell, and you feel really really bad for him, because I would feel the same in an asylum too. And what else? But the one thing I never got was, why didn't we ever see anyone else in this asylum? I mean, we see one person, but that's it, and that one person was used for a very disturbing scene, but I'll get to that though. What else was I gonna say? So slowly and slowly, like he starts going crazy because of that, and slowly and slowly he starts to stop talking. Like there's scenes where he's with Sam Loomis and he's just silent, and then he's like, "If you don't talk with me, they're gonna fire me and they're gonna place me somewhere else. So you need to communicate with me for me to keep this job." And then he was like, "I need to get out of here." And I like that scene where he was crying to Sam Loomis. That was really sad. And what else? And yeah, and the fact that he was so obsessed with the mask was cool too. Anything else I should say? And I liked how they made him always wear a mask instead of just like being without a mask in an asylum for so many years. Anything else I should say? So yeah, this movie definitely had some great ideas in it, and I love that scene where we see Michael Myers, where he's really not talking as a kid, and they say that he's been silent for 2 weeks, and he doesn't talk for shit, and then even his mom gave him the picture of him and his little sister, and he still doesn't want to talk, and that's when you see this kid's fucking Michael Myers. because after that the nurse goes in and watches him, and then he gets the fork and stabs the nurse in the throat, which was very dark. Yeah, I enjoyed that, and that right there, it's like, yep, Michael Myers. It's fucking Michael Myers. So yeah, and that scene was dark, and the fact that like there were the sirens in the background and we didn't even hear anybody talking, like everyone was screaming at Michael and crying, but we didn't even hear that, and that made it even more emotional. Shit. Yeah, again, sorry for the noise in the background. I'm pretty annoyed by it too. Um anything else I should say? But yeah, I really enjoyed like that whole aspect, and then after that, like Deborah Myers goes crazy and she watches the old like videos, like the old film videos of her son and his birthday and how happy he used to be. That was a very sad scene, not gonna lie. And then like after that, she gets the gun and shoots herself. Yeah, like she shoots herself because she can't believe her son is a serial killer. That was really dark and that was really sad. Anything else I should say about this movie? Shit, I really wish I can go over there and calm them down, but I can't. I'm filming. Anything else I should say about this movie? Oh yeah, and then after that we fast forward to 15 years later and we see Michael. He's crazy. Like he literally like he has his long ass hair all up on his face. He never wants to show his face. He either wears a mask or he has the hair on his face. And then he's so big. He's a fucking giant. Like that is crazy. Like Michael Myers is a literal giant. He's a foot taller than the original Michael Myers, probably even more, cause he's a fucking giant. He's fucking big, and that was really shocking. Uh, Anything else? And I really like that scene where him and Sam Loomis were talking. He was saying this was his last day and he's sorry, and then in some weird way he's become his best friend. So yeah, that was a great scene. So yeah, that great scene with that, and I liked how Ishmael kept taking care of Michael, and I love that little scene where he was talking to Michael as a kid, where he said, you can't let these walls get to you. You have to look past these walls, because I did a little bit of time in here myself. So yeah, that was a great scene, and I really enjoyed how he always cared for me. He kept saying sorry to him, and what else? Anything else I should say? And I liked how they brought back the Devil's Eyes thing from the very first Halloween. That was cool. Any other scenes in this movie? And then we get to the really, 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 really disturbing scene of this movie, and probably one of the most disturbing things I have ever seen. So we have the prison escape, the escape that Michael has, like when he escapes. It's disturbing because there are these two security guards. They get this crazy girl, like this like psychotic girl, and she has like a gown and she doesn't even have anything underneath, and they keep playing with her, and they smack her butt and like even touch her cooch, and then like they keep molesting her, and then they bring her to Michael's room and are like, Michael, we brought you a little something to play with, and then like the guy has her on her arms and she literally seems like she's struggling and she wants to get free, and it's so disturbing. You feel extremely bad for that girl. And I literally like I every time I watch that scene, every time I watch this movie and I get to that scene, I always just skip that scene. Like that's how fucking bad it is. So yeah, and then like they just keep bullying Michael, and then they take his mask, and then they even rape the fucking girl on his bed. It's the disturbing shit. But thankfully, thank God. And I feel like this is the only good thing that Michael has ever done. The best thing, the only good thing Michael has done when he killed those security guards. I was so happy when he killed them and he grabbed the one that was raping her and then smacks his head on the wall like once, and then he bleeds out. Great scene. Yeah. I mean, not great scene, like great deaths for those security guards. Like they fucking deserve that. So yeah. But that whole scene, no, 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 no. Yes, no, no. Yeah, no more talking about that scene, because that is one of the most disturbing shit I've ever seen. Because I can't believe this movie has some of the best things I've seen and some of the worst things that I've seen too. So yeah, I'm kind of mixed with this movie. But then after that, we get a good scene, where we get a good slash sad scene where Michael kills Ishmael, where at first Ishmael's like trying to be nice to him even though he sees all the dead bodies. He's like, I'm gonna get these handcuffs and get you back in your own bed, okay, Mikey? and then so he's gonna do that, and then he gets Ishmael by the throat and starts beating him up, and then he drowns him on the sink dispenser full of water, and that was pretty dark too. And he kept saying, I was good to you, Mikey," over and over again. You feel really bad for that guy, and that was a really sad death, really sad moment. And then he dropped him, and then dropped the TV on him. Very dark scene. Um, any other scene that you're talking about? And I thought this scene was pretty funny actually with Joe Grizzly in the bathroom. That scene was actually hilarious where Michael was knocking on his door because he wanted his coat, and he was like, brother, I got a Taco Deluxe Supreme talking back at me, so I may be a while. So if you mind waiting somewhere else and let me pass this beast in peace. And then there was one part he was like, "I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch." Yeah, hilarious. And then after that he's gonna fight Michael, but then Michael obviously beats the shit out of him and like takes his hand that has the knife on it and keeps pounding it and pounding it on the bathroom stall, where to the point where he wants his hand to get weakened so he can get the knife. And then after that he ends up getting the knife and stabs him. So yeah, it was a cool slash funny scene. So yeah. Any other scenes I enjoy? So yeah, it's right there where the movie. It's right after that scene where the movie gets downhill. Cause Laurie in this movie, cause after that we get introduced to Laurie Strode, and the first thing we get introduced by her is her making a inappropriate sex remark to her parents with a bagel. It's yeah, that's weird. So yeah, and that's fucking Laurie right there when we first get introduced to her. But Laurie in this movie, she's not even interesting at all. They show that it's Michael Myers' baby sister, but that's the only thing that's interesting about her, and like that's the only interesting part is Michael's trying to go after her, but her character was extremely boring. I did not buy that this was Laurie. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't interested in anything of her. And then when we have all those scenes where she's with her friends like Annie and Linda, those scenes are kind of boring too, because literally all they do is talk about just some random ass shit. But I will say this, Annie and Linda, I thought they were kind of funny at times though. But even them, they were pretty bad characters. But I will say this, all three of those girls were pretty cute actually. Especially Linda. Like I had the hots for Linda, to be honest. But but one thing I loved about this movie, one cool thing about that, I love how Danielle Harris came back for another Halloween movie. Yes, the same Danielle Harris who played Jamie Lloyd in Halloween 4 and 5. It is so cool that she comes back in the remake, but instead playing Annie, and you recognize her from another Halloween movie. So yeah, I thought that was really cool having her come back and having her in a doll, and she even grew up too because she's super cute in this movie. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. Anything else? And it was cool how Sheriff Brackett was played by Brad Dourif. Yes, the same Brad Dourif who voices Chucky. Um, anything else I should say? So yeah, good casting choices, but the characters not so much. But I did think the scenery was cool though. Like they definitely got the fall time scenery right, and it even looked kind of spooky too. I really enjoyed the scenery. Um, anything else I should say? But the scenes where Michael kills in the second act and the second half, I thought were pretty cool actually. Like when he kills Linda and Bob. And I oh yeah, and another flaw I have with this movie is some of the sex scenes in this movie kind of go on for a pretty long time. And when Michael kills these girls, like it literally shows their whole naked body. So I found that to be kind of weird and a little rapey too. So yeah, that's another flaw I have with this movie. But what was I gonna say? But their death scenes were pretty cool actually. Like when he got Paul and he stabbed him on the wall just like in the original, and they did that scene yet again perfectly. And then when he choked Linda, but it seemed rape because we literally saw her whole body as he was doing it, and even when he was carrying her body, we saw her whole body. So yeah, what else was I gonna say about the death scenes? And then he even kills Annie's. He doesn't kill Annie, but he kills her boyfriend Paul, I think is his name. But I thought that sex scene went on for way too long, and I can't believe it went from sexy to scary in literally a fucking second. Yeah, and so he stabs Paul and in the back. He keeps stabbing him, but then he doesn't beat up Laurie. He doesn't kill Laurie. He just beats the shit out of her, which was a pretty dark scene actually. And that was a very dark scene where Annie kept screaming how she was struggling and her whole body was filled with blood. Pretty dark scene. Any other scenes that I liked in this movie? Oh yeah, and this was a really like this was a really dark scene where we had Michael kill Laurie's adopted parents, and the fact that they're old and he kills them and it's graphic, it's pretty crazy how he's beating up the mom and he stabs the dad and he like throws the mom on the table and then he snaps her throat. Yeah, that was a pretty graphic scene. And then after that we see their bloody bodies, extremely gruesome. Anything else I should say? Any other deaths that I enjoyed in this movie? I did think Tommy and Lindsay were okay in this movie. I thought they captured them okay, but they made Tommy Doyle gay, which was kind of which was different, but I was okay with that. But I found that to be kind of funny too. Like I found Tommy and Lindsay to be kind of funny. Anything else I should say? And that whole epilogue, like in Michael Myers' house, where Laurie's like trying to run away from Michael. I thought that whole scene, the lighting there looked so shitty because you could barely even make out what's happening there. But I did think this scene was emotional, where Michael showed her a picture of him and her when they were little, when she was a baby and he was a kid, and she's like, I don't know them, I don't, and then he takes off his mask to show that's him. I thought that was a pretty emotional scene. But I did think the girl who played Laurie, like her acting was kind of off at times. Anything else I should say about about that scene? But I did enjoy when Sam Loomis came back and he tried shooting Michael and he shot him many times, but he wouldn't die. But then he just got knocked out on like that pool. And then Michael even came back in the cop car, and I liked how they brought back was that the boogeyman line from the very first Halloween. That was pretty cool. Anything else I should say? But yeah, that whole epilogue was looked pretty dark, and that was cool when Michael like squished Sam Loomis's head. I thought that scene was cool, and it was done pretty gruesome actually. Um, Anything else I should say? But yeah, that whole scene where Laurie's trying to run away from Michael in the house. I thought that went on for way too long too. But I guess it was cool when Laurie like threw him down the balcony and then like she was trying to shoot him, but it kept having blanks, and then like Michael grabs her arm and then she shot him in the head and she started going crazy. And I thought that was a cool ending when she started going crazy, and then as she's going crazy we hear the Halloween theme, and then we see the picture of her and Michael when they were little, and then the movie ends right there, and then it shows you like clips of Michael, what he was doing when he was a kid. He would beat up his little dolls and all of that. He would always become shirtless. He always had the stick and would always beat up shit. So yeah, I thought that whole ending was fine. To rate this movie, I think I'm gonna rate this movie a B plus, cause like I really enjoyed that first half. Even though it seemed like I was talking negative about this movie, I really enjoyed that first half. So that first half definitely saved this movie for me. But the second half was literally fell so very flat. So yeah, yeah, B plus. Solid Halloween movie. So yeah, bye and see you all in the next review.